Hello, everybody. I am David Gushee, and I have the privilege today of interviewing Isaac B. Sharp, who has written a book called The Other Evangelicals. Um, and as the person who was given the opportunity to write the foreword to this book and to see it when it was a PhD dissertation of about 800,000 words, I am really thrilled to help introduce the rest of the world to this awesome book. Um, Basically, it is kind of hard for me to disentangle in my mind the full. It was about 200,000 words, wasn't it, Isaac? The full dissertation.
Yeah, this is the much longer. I had to cut it nearly in half. I think it was I had 800 something, Microsoft Word or PDF pages, and to do a lot of cutting. Yeah, so there's a bunch left over.
Yeah. So it's hard for me to disentangle the full dissertation from this gorgeous product that has finally emerged. But I do want to say congratulations. Isaac was my student at the master's level, and I also had the privilege of serving on the dissertation committee and then writing this foreword. And now when I see the tremendous response that the book is already getting as it is being born into the world, I'm very proud. So maybe I'll start off, Isaac, by asking you this question. Why did you write this dissertation? And now I might say, is the vision the same for this book? Basically, are you thinking of this as a continuation or a distillation of that project? And in a sense, what motivated the overall project?
So this is a really interesting forum to answer this particular question, because you and I go way back in a number of ways. One of the earliest kind of motivating factors that started the wheels turning, so to speak, on this topic actually was a book you and I worked on together. When I was in Atlanta and working at the Center for Theology and Public Life with you, we were working on a book that came out with Westminster John Knox Press, the Evangelical Ethics, a Reader, which includes selections from various evangelical ethicists across the 20th century. I think fully we did the kind of full range of 20th and 21st century evangelical ethics. And one of the interesting questions that really started wheels turning for me was this question: who's in and who's out?
Yep.
We had to ask this. We had to think through this. It was a fun kind of thing. Sometimes collaborative projects can be a thorn, but this was a fun one for me, at least, to think through together when you are assigned the task of compiling a reader it could be evangelical theology, evangelical culture makers, evangelical politics, but this was specifically evangelical ethics. One of the primary questions is the criteria for who goes in and who goes out. So at one level, we were debating between ourselves and thinking through what criteria do we use to decide who goes in and out, right? For
Yep.
something like evangelical ethics, it might be who has influenced evangelical ethicist, who identifies as an evangelical ethicist, who is a ethicist who's a member of an evangelical denomination. And these are all criteria that could be used. And as soon from that question forward, that was a kind of there was a little bit of a domino effect with that, where that started the wheels turning in my head about there's something going on with this question of insider outsider in the evangelical world. And then that's an early domino with some of this thinking.
I remember us trying to figure out who was going to be in that book, and even just we were going to have to put in the intro, how do we define evangelicalism? And I can't think of another religious group where it's so difficult to define a term that is used in everyday parlance. And in essence, it seems to me your book demonstrates the social construction called evangelicalism and who's in and who's out. So now, all these years later, with a book called, by the way, I don't even know how to pronounce the title of your book. If you think about it, is it, how do you say other with a line through it? How do you say that, Isaac? The other slash through, strike through evangelicals. It's classic. I've never seen a book with a line through it in the title. So anyway, are the other evangelicals evangelicals?
Right. No, right. I mean, this is the question, and in other interviews that I've begun having around this, one of the ways of talking about this is it's the circular kind of thing where as you said with the book we did, Evangelical Ethics, one of the central things that you have to set up is how you are defining it, right? And there's these debates over how to define it, and there's interdisciplinary debates among those who would define, sociologists who would define evangelicalism in one way, and debates among themselves, and historians and theologians and insiders. There's insider debates among intra-evangelical debates over how to define it, and debates among outsiders and insiders. And sometimes a fascinating thing in public discourse about this that I have observed is sometimes what is happening with debates over evangelicalism and who is evangelical and who counts as evangelical, who's a true evangelical or not. You get folks who are disagreeing about core definitional issues without even realizing that they're talking about two different things. So you get these like talking past one another where someone is operating with a prescriptive definition, you know, implicitly suggesting, here's what I believe it should mean to be an evangelical, and somebody else who is in the same conversation working off of a descriptive definition that is suggesting here is what evangelicals believe, right? So there is something afoot, right, with this question of who is an evangelical. Right now, Scott McKnight has done me a great honor. He's walking through the book week by week in his Substack and working through the chapters. And one of the things that he has opened with both weeks is that this who question is as important as the what question. And he's exactly right. Who are we talking about? But even more importantly, who gets to do the defining? Yep. So when you say, are these folks in the book evangelicals? I one of the kind of guide rails I tried to use, because it was already 800 pages and it could have been much longer actually, was I tried to stick with folks who would self-claim the term, who would say, yes, I am evangelical, because I didn't want to try to put the label on. So in one way, I avoided a certain kind of controversy by not making a call and me saying, yes, these are definitely evangelicals. I think in almost every case, any of the thinkers featured in the book would have claimed the label themselves, or do. Not everyone is in past tense.